LinkedIn profiles. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like LinkedIn profiles better. But before we do that, I want you to watch this little video. So get in a place where you can see. You're going to see two teams. One team's wearing black shirts, another team's wearing white shirts. Each team has a basketball, and they're going to pass that basketball. I want you to focus on the team wearing white shirts and count the number of times they pass the ball. See if you can get the right answer. If you get the right answer, you get a little orange cone, stress cone, which you already all have. All right, count them. White shirts.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
Who got it? Shout out a number.
The correct answer is 16 passes.
Who got 16?
Did you spot the gorilla?
How many of you saw the gorilla?
For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color for the player on the black team leaving the game?
How many of you noticed that? Watch again.
Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold.
Now this was a psychological experiment they did back in 2010, and the fascinating thing about it is it's called inattentional blindness. And we have an uncanny inability as human beings to focus on more than one thing at a time. It's very rare. It's just difficult for us to do that. And so we didn't see the gorilla, don't worry about it, we didn't see the screen change color. Now, there's a principle here with resumes, and the first one is this. Resumes are an employer's way of weeding people out. I get hundreds and hundreds of resumes every single day for positions that we have open. And I go through and scan those resumes, and I'm just tossing them left and right. And I'm just scanning for quick things, and I just want to weed people out. And essentially what I'm looking for with a resume is who can fulfill the basic requirements of this job so I can pay them the least amount of money. And make no mistake about it, if you're working for a company, they're going to try to hire you for as little money as they possibly can. Your job as the employee or potential employee is to get as much money as you can. And it's a negotiation, and you're trying to meet somewhere in the middle. But when I go through resumes, I'm just looking who can be the simple monkey that can do the basic descriptions that I can pay the least amount of money. That's what I'm going for. First is to weed people out. The second thing, that was weed people out. I guess I should read it. It's an employer's way of asking how many times the ball is passed. Who can pass the ball like a monkey? The second thing is weed people out. They're going to weed people out. And the final thing, and this is what companies are really looking for, is companies are looking for people who can spot the gorillas, the big, ugly, hairy things that are causing trouble inside of the company. And they want to find people who have the knowledge and skills to fix and subdue that gorilla. That's what they're looking for. And I'm here to tell you that most of those jobs never make it onto job boards. They never make it there. And I'm a prime example of that. The last 3 jobs that I've landed, a job was not posted. I had done my research about companies that I wanted to work for, that met my skill set, that met my passion. And I started to research those companies. And there's so much information about companies out there, I can learn a lot of things, and I would look for the gorilla in the companies that I wanted to work for. And then I would use my network to get an introduction to the CEO or to the vice president. I would get an audience with them. And I would send them an email, and I would say, hey, I have found a gorilla in your company, and I have the solution, and you need to talk to me. And my last 3 companies, they took an interview with me, and I created my own job, including this position that I'm in right now. It did not exist. At Whitaker Construction, they had some gorillas. They didn't have any training that was going on consistently. They didn't have somebody handling marketing and recruiting. And I came in saying, I can create solutions for all of that. And guess what? They paid me exactly what I wanted because of that. There wasn't much negotiation. They said, no, you've identified the gorilla. We need Jake to take care of that gorilla. And so we're going to pay him because we need him here. And it's been wonderful. But that is the way you get jobs. Now let's just talk about LinkedIn really quick. If you're not familiar with it, I just want to go over some quick statistics about LinkedIn just so that you know what's going on. There are over 660 million people on LinkedIn. Now, how does this compare to like Instagram or Twitter? I think LinkedIn like 6 or 7 on the list of social media users. So it's not one of the top ones, but it does have a unique need for businesses, which we'll talk about. But that's still a lot of people in over 200 countries. In terms of demographics, 57% males, 42% females. Here's the one I like. There are more than 30 million companies listed on LinkedIn. And this is where LinkedIn sets itself apart from any other social media platform, is businesses are actively posting content to set themselves up as industry leaders. And you can learn everything you want to know about the company. The CEOs, the vice presidents, they're posting things about their companies. And you can go and learn about that. You can go and learn and say, hey, I actually like what they're doing here. Or I'm going to try to find the gorilla here because I actually would like to work for that company. So this is where LinkedIn sets apart. And so you can follow companies on here. You can follow all 30 million companies if you want and learn about these companies. Now the nice thing about this is this doesn't isolate you to here to the Salt Lake Valley. This gives you access to these 30 million companies across the globe. Half of all U.S. adults with college degrees use LinkedIn. It's one of the highest percentage social media platforms where college degree people use because they're networking. 37% of U.S. adults or more than 1 out of every 3 aged between 30 and 49 years old use LinkedIn. There's kind of the age demographic there with LinkedIn. 57% of LinkedIn traffic comes from mobile devices. A few of the things that I found just recently that I don't have slides for yet. LinkedIn has 15 times more content impressions than job postings. A lot of people think it's just a place to go look for a job. But there is so much content about companies, about the people who run the companies, that you can do so much research about them so that you then walk into an interview armed with knowledge about the company and can talk about the gorillas. They're telling you what their gorillas are. Sponsored InMail, which is kind of an email feature inside of LinkedIn, it has a 52% open rate. If you just blind email a CEO, chances of him opening it is like 10% open rate. So with a LinkedIn connection and you send an InMail, 1 in 2 emails are going to get opened by somebody you send it to in LinkedIn. And one of the most powerful things you have right now is, as a high school student, to reach out to CEOs of companies that maybe you want to start and compete with or work for, and say, hey, I would love to interview you for 10 minutes about what you do. I'm a high school student, I want to learn. And they love to share information. And to connect them on LinkedIn and start learning about them is going to be invaluable to you as you go forward. According to Forbes, it's estimated that only 20% of new jobs and vacancies are advertised or posted. It's called the hidden job market. We actually are looking for a financial controller right now, another financial controller in our company. I created the job description and actually got a referral of a friend. Before I even posted the job, we had already hired for that position. I still posted the job to see, but there was no need to do it. Never made it to the job market, and that's the case. There are jobs out there just waiting to be created, and you just need to get creative enough to go out and create them. A web posting for a job typically yields over 150 applicants for a position. We have one job position. Last month, we opened up that position. I had over 500 applicants for 3 spots. Who's going to get the job there? I mean, you're competing against 500 people versus if you go in and create the job. One last thing about LinkedIn that I love, it enables you to connect with people outside of your industry. And COVID had a huge impact on the former industry that I was in, which was education technology. And a lot of people in education technology lost their jobs. And for my colleagues who only had connections with people in education technology, they didn't know who to network with and try to find a job. Now, I had jumped and got into construction, and so I'd already made connections outside of ed tech. And so I was safe, but I watched my friends struggle because all their connections were in the field that they were in. I love to connect with people in all sorts of industries. I love to learn about all sorts of industries because I never know where my talents and abilities are going to take me. I started teaching in high school. Then I ended up consulting in education technology. And then I ended up in construction. And who knows where I'll go next. But I'm willing to evolve and change and grow with them. Now, with LinkedIn, I just want to talk a few other things about industry partners. And this is significant because this is what we are looking for. This is what industry partners are looking for. Now, JP Morgan Chase, every year for the last, I think, 15 years, they come out with an essay, an article about the challenges that companies are going to face during this year. It comes out every January. And it's significant to look at because they highlight the top challenges that companies have. They highlight gorillas that companies are going through. And so I read this because I want to see what is industry in need of, and do I have the skills to fill that? Because then I can command a better salary for myself, and I can better provide for my family. Well, in this survey, they identified some things, and I don't know if this is how big this is going to be. But there was a tie this year, 49%, 49%. There was a limit. The top challenge for companies: a limited supply of candidates with the right skills. That was their top challenge: is finding the right people with the right skills. That's significant. Number 2 is revenue, sales, and growth. That's always something. And then the 43% was managing labor costs. So 2 of the top 3 challenges have to do with employees. So companies are concerned about this. Down here, the hardest positions to fulfill. I would look at this to say, do I have skills and passion in any of these industries? Because this is where companies are hiring. Technical and trade. I like that because I'm in construction. I'm recruiting for construction workers. And the fascinating thing about construction is it gets overlooked. They think that's a blue collar. You're going to be building houses or digging a ditch your entire life. And that's not the case. That might be where you start. But construction has a blue collar side. They also have a white collar side, the business side. And there are people that straddle both worlds. And so, and the construction industry, I'll just say, Whitaker Construction is booming. And we can't fill positions fast enough. Where other companies are letting people go, we're hiring like mad. And we have open positions that's just difficult to fill. And it's secure because what do? Water, sewer, gas, roads, infrastructure. And it's always needed. We got to get water in, we got to get bad stuff out, we got to heat buildings. That's all the stuff we do. And it's a solid industry to go into. On the white collar side, we have HR department, we have an IT department, we have a marketing department, we have training and development. We have all sorts of departments that a lot of people overlook because they think construction is just one thing, they pigeonhole it, and it's not. And that's what I'm here to talk about just a little bit, is the construction industry. But unskilled laborers, we have labor positions right out of high school, $18 an hour is what we pay. I was just down in Beaver, Utah, one of our laborers, I said, hey, I thought you were going to college and working. He says, I was, but I didn't get enough money for my scholarship. And so I had to stop this semester, but he says, if I work for the next 3 months, I can pay for my next 2 semesters of college. And then he said, I just realized, why do I need to go into debt? It might take me 6 to 7 years to graduate college, but I don't want to go into debt to get my degree. And he says, I'm just going to alternate. And so he's a laborer for us right now. He's working on an endorsement to drive some of our big machines and put pipe together. So he's getting his degree in construction management. And then he wants to become a project manager for us. But he's using this opportunity to command, but he's getting a 401k already. We have stock options in Whitaker. He's taking advantage of all the health benefits right out of high school. And he's still getting a college degree. Now, what matters most to hiring managers? When I'm interviewing somebody, notice here, and this is true for me, guess how much I care about where you went to school? I don't care that much. I care that you went to school. Do I care about what you studied? A little bit more. But what I most care about is right here. Knowledge and skills. That's what I care about. And if somebody can demonstrate to me that they have knowledge and skills and they don't have a degree, I'll still hire them. Because that's way more important to me. If they got it somewhere else, if they got it on YouTube, and they can demonstrate to me that they have it, I'll still pay them what I would pay a college grad if they can do the work. That's the times we're in. Now, I still believe in college. I think college is a great thing. I'm not discrediting it by any means. But for anybody that may not be thinking about college ever or in the near future, you can still make an incredible living if you can tap into the knowledge and skills, and you're getting some of that now. But this is what industry is looking for, knowledge and skills. And one last thing I just want to talk about with CTE. I love the CTE program. This number right here, 1,500,000, is the average number of kids that drop out of high school every year. That's a huge number. They've interviewed kids why they drop out. They say class were not interesting, high school was boring. High school was not relevant, it didn't help me achieve their dreams. It didn't make sense to them, so they leave. Now the fascinating thing about this is that for every 100 students that start high school, 82% are going to graduate. Look around, there will be kids in here that will not graduate high school. Of those same 100, 65% are going to start college, and only 30% will finish with a bachelor's degree. That means 70% of you will enter the workforce without a bachelor's degree. Now, if we go back to that previous slide, what do employers care about? Do they care about their alma mater? Do they care about the major? No, they care about knowledge and skills. So even without a degree, if you can demonstrate that you have the knowledge and skills, you can still command a higher wage because of what you know and what you know how to do. Just so you know, across all demographics, if a student takes 3 CT classes or more, and this is why I love CT, because this is the educator in me, 3 CT classes or more, the likelihood of them graduating jumps across all demographics. It's in the data. And so if you're taking CT classes, do that. And why do kids love those CT classes? Because they relate to career. Do I need to stop? 3 minutes? Okay, I'm going fast. One of the things I love about CT, and this is my son, this is his second career skills certificate. This is already posted on his LinkedIn profile, demonstrating his knowledge and skills. On the back of these documents, they list out the standards that were covered in that class. You can convert those standards into knowledge and skills, the things that you listed, you can put them in your LinkedIn profiles and communicate that. Now, really quick, I just want to show you something in 2 minutes. I've been interviewing high school kids down in Washington County School District. This is Annie MacArthur. I interviewed her over the summer so she can get prepared to land an internship. This is her LinkedIn profile. These are kids, she's a junior right now. These are kids that have been building their LinkedIn profiles for over a year. These are kids that you will be competing against to get into colleges and to get careers. And I just want you to show you her LinkedIn profile. Great picture. It tells what she's doing. She's an architect intern. I like to say I help her got that job because I got her prepared for that interview. But notice what she does. She loves interior design and architecture. You see that everywhere. She has a wonderful story about her. I love these. She says, as a girl, I didn't play with dolls. I played with the doll house. She loves to build houses. Her blog, different things that she's done. Here's all her experience. She's the author of a design blog. She's the founder of a design studio. She's already designing for people. She's an architect intern. Some other things, where she's going to school. And then what I love right here, 3 career skills certificates that she's earned to demonstrate her knowledge and skills. Some volunteer experience, leadership endorsements. That's me, I gave her a nice recommendation. So she's on here, and the other students in Washington County, they're using these now to leverage internships to be able to build out their networks to land the positions they want. So with that, my invitation to you is to build a LinkedIn profile. Ask your teachers for help. Get using that and start building your networks so that you can land the career that you want to. And the big thing is use it to find the gorilla that exists in society or in a company and figure out a way to solve it. Because that's how you're going to make a ton of money in life, is to find those gorillas. Thank you.
Coming today, got a little outfit swag there.
I'll wear that home. My student who goes to Bryson will love that.
I don't think there's anything wearable.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? We have like 1 minute left. Is there anybody that has a question for Jake?
And I'll just say while you're thinking, if you do create a LinkedIn profile, please connect with me. If you want to practice a job interview, I'm happy to help with that. I'd love to do it anytime. And I have some key insights that can help you land a job.
So that's the bill. If you didn't sign in the roll, there are the QR codes over here. We also have a treat. There's 1 Rice Krispie treat, 1 water, and you can take it on the way out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, I forgot one thing. There
I've been to blame for that every once in a while.
Some of them are a little different. A little Irish stuff.